IT solution provider primarily focused on the academic and the research institutions for last almost 3 decades now. In fact, since 93, we've been in this business, and we've been catering to customers across Eastern and Northeastern India. Largely, our customers are higher education. We didn't really have any schools as our customers. So mostly universities, colleges, could be engineering colleges, could be management colleges, B schools. A lot of CSIR labs, as in, scientific research labs, some DRDO labs, which are the defense research labs, and others. Objective is to provide IT infrastructure solutions. So it could be hardware, it could be software, it could be networking. So we understand exactly what they need, sometimes even more than the customer, because we have the domain knowledge as well as the IT knowledge. Domain knowledge to the extent that what kind of needs they have. I'm not saying we know education better than them, but we understand what their needs are in terms of as it interfaces with the IT world. So we are able to do that. So that's what we've been involved in, and specifically, unlike many other SIs or resellers, we've been involved in just this segment for the last 28 plus years. Primarily, we have been a Microsoft partner for more than 2 decades, and we've been deploying campus-based Microsoft software licenses across Eastern and Northeastern India. Now, in the current scenario, especially the pandemic and the post-pandemic scenario, there are 2-3 different opportunities which have come up. One is that because of the online or right now, I should say, hybrid mode of teaching/learning, there are 2 things which have come up. One is that you obviously need a platform, and amongst the available platform, Teams, I think, is the best platform for education. And it is being very widely adopted as well, amongst our customer bases as well. So that's one large opportunity, because the moment one goes on to Teams, there are quite a few things which come by alongside. One of it is you need to be able to use Teams effectively, which means you need, other than using Teams, you also need a specific set of devices to be delivering the lectures online, which can be captured on Teams. It could be through a good device like a Surface laptop, which is again from Microsoft, or it could be in a classroom situation where you have a interactive display where you are actually writing onto the board, which is being concurrently beamed on Teams, as well as being displayed onto the physically available students. So that's the area which we are focusing on. I think that's a big opportunity. People are not realizing, oftentimes customers are not aware, educators are not aware that this is what they finally need to do, because I perceive nobody will be able to afford twice the number of classes or classrooms. If you want to have, let's say, social distancing and have 50% classes, can we really afford, can any school, college afford twice the number of classrooms? No. Can anybody afford twice the number of teachers? No. So what does one do? Can you afford twice the time frame of a semester or a year? No. So you have to do it concurrently, 50-50, online and offline. Now, this is something which people are realizing slowly, unfortunately. I don't know why. But most people are not realizing it at a go. They know, yes, there's a problem, but we'll manage, we'll do practicals like this, we'll do theory like this. They think all those things, but ultimately it is going to head in that direction, and that throws up huge amounts of opportunities. Because you have to actually, the teacher will teach, and whoever is present in the class and whoever is present online, it should be same time being received through the same delivery. That's the major opportunity. So because this involves various devices, audio, video, and of course the network, which becomes a requirement. You have a good wireless connection in the classrooms, which probably has been there in some form or the other, but not so critical before this. But now it's critical to have a good Wi-Fi, because imagine if you were to have 20, 30 video connections simultaneously. You need a good Wi-Fi bandwidth. It's not like one-on-one. So that's the opportunity I feel. So one important thing, specifically in the education segment, what happens is that I'll just give you a layman's perspective. When things moved online for education, what really happened? Students from their mobiles and laptops started accessing the lectures which were being done from Zoom or Teams or whatever the platform. Really, where is the campus infrastructure coming into play? Nowhere. From home to cloud, right? So there is no campus infrastructure play here. So those IT partners like us who were really working on providing a campus infrastructure suddenly had no role to play. So what do? Close shop? It could be perceived this way. But those who've understood that it's not always going to be like that. And there is going to be a hybrid mode of learning, which is going to be here to stay. So automatically, the opportunities will come by, and they've started coming by. So yes, it has been a difficult journey, but it should throw up more opportunities. So education, has suffered the most during the pandemic. I feel primarily the students and researchers, both. It's not only just learning. There is something like school life or college life which has just become absent during this period, which is so sad for the student community and even the research community. All research can't be done at home. That's why you have labs. But having said that, now that things are bouncing back, so a couple of new things are coming by. One of the things which nobody was very comfortable doing, that is do a lot of work on the cloud. Now, people are very, very open. So it's not like the technology never existed, but it is like the mindset was not to accept it. Maybe I will give you an extreme example, which is not related to our work as such. Even a Boeing engineer, I'm saying because I know somebody, who were to, or let's say a Siemens engineer for a large plant equipment, who would have to fly down from US or Germany to attend to a service problem, is doing it online. By simulating, by actually getting into a video call and giving instructions and stuff like that. So, and they have, of course, developed certain tools, software tools to test diagnostics, which are more detailed than before, simply because there was no choice. Travel was not a possibility. I am sure if it could be done now, it could have been done earlier. But the mindset did not allow. No. I want your person to be here on site, only then we can allow you to, our person will not touch the equipment. You have to come and do it. And your senior most person has to come and do it. All that changed because there was no choice. What I'm trying to imply is not that Siemens or Boeing became important, but what I'm trying to imply is that the mindset of the consumer or the customer has changed. They are open to working online and on the cloud. So now let's come to the education segment, which we are talking about. The opportunities are immense. Lots of labs which had to be physically equipped and students to physically come into can be now done on the cloud. When I say that, I would specifically address the IT related labs or some of the equipments which can be simulated through software. For example, if you're doing a Java or any software programming lab, or if you're doing a database lab, anything related to computer science, actually what you do, you sit on a computer and work. It really doesn't matter whether you sat inside your house or your workplace or your lab in the college or the school. So that part is very easily, doable over a network. So, but the mindset did not exist. no, students will not be able to take it. The teacher will find it very difficult to handle. But all started working. So that's a huge opportunity, huge opportunity. Because real estate is not easy for anybody. And the other part, which is maybe a little anecdotal, if the teacher after lunch is going to take the 5th period in class and they are on campus, if they can do it from home and still run the lab and maybe come 20 minutes later to actually physically check, how would it matter? Is it not more convenient? So everybody is started seeing two perspectives. One is productivity versus convenience. If productivity is kept intact or maybe improved because of the convenience that you get, I'm not even talking about cost. So there is some change that is happening. Now this change throws up this kind of opportunities that whatever was being done offline or physically, can it be moved online? So this question is being first answered internally and then deployed. If it can't be, of course, or if it is too costly, of course you don't do it. But if something can be easily moved online, people will by default now do that. I, for one, started feeling too much that, why 1 hour, 15 minutes commute to my office every day on each way? I'm losing 2.5 hours time just that way. And then, of course, 15 minutes settling time, 15 minutes preparation time, whenever I move out or move in. So effectively, my 8-hour workday is reduced to 5 hours if I take the proverbial 8 hours. Should I really do that? Should I maybe improve my productivity by maybe working 3 days from home, 3 days from office? So which is what I'm doing now. So what are the opportunities? One is you can simulate a lot of laboratory work out of software, online, out of cloud. And Microsoft has solutions already in place through their third-party ISV solutions, and which are already being in use, even in Calcutta, West Bengal, for doing labs for engineering students. Now that is a sea change, and that's where the opportunity lies. Because if one is going to move in that direction, then it opens up further opportunities. So the opportunity is really not defined, but it is defined by one guiding principle. Can I move it online for better price to performance ratio? If the answer is yes, I will try. Microsoft has been a partner-friendly organization, and they do a couple of things very well. One is that they are in a particular space where they may not have very, what should I say, esoteric or high-end technology, but what they have is like a de facto standard. Like you can't do without Windows, you can't do without MS Office. Word, Excel, PowerPoint is something all of us need. So, but despite that, they have always tried to, whenever they launch a new product, they try to train their partners on the newness of the features which have been launched, new features which have been launched in the new versions. Likewise, do it for customers. So they always handhold through the journey and try to proliferate that and see that everybody is on the forefront of technology. Since this is the underlying principle, so as things move from offline to online in terms of education in specific, for us, Microsoft obviously came out with flying colors because, there was really no standard platform for education. Like, we are talking on Zoom today. Skype was always there. See, for corporate, for commercial activities, another thing. But for doing a proper online education, no platform was really geared, neither Microsoft. But you will be surprised at the speed at which they added features to their platform, Microsoft Teams, which transformed from Skype to Teams and became not only collaboration friendly, but Teams for education, including things like learning management. May not be a full-fledged learning management system, but a lot of learning management, formulae for mathematics, so many things got integrated. And because of that, the journey has been quite good. And that's the reason why Teams has been more adopted than any other platform for education. Yes, Google Meet was easier to adopt to start with. Zoom was easier to adopt to start with. But these were meeting software really, not learning platforms. So that's where I think they adopted very, very quickly. And virtually every 14 days, you'd see new features in the software. So it grew by leaps and bounds. And they went ahead and gave free licenses for the base features, up to thousands of users for larger institutions. So for our own customers, I know they've given 5,000 user licenses for free for 1 full year. And now they are buying. They're going for the paid versions because that has other add-on features. And people have realized that this is not like a stopgap. See, that's the key. When you think that, okay, next 3 months is the problem, let me find a quick fix and we'll make do. This is one approach. But when you know that this is going to stay, then you can't take this approach. So then you need a proper ongoing roadmap for this. A lot of people thought this is pandemic. I mean, none of us knew it's going to last 2.5 years. So, okay, classes, let's do. So somebody did in Google Meet, somebody did in Zoom, somebody did in Teams, somebody did in Cisco WebEx, lots of platforms. But the platform which has been here to stay, and in the education space, I think they've been very strong, Microsoft. So, like I said, because of this completeness of offering, like earlier, let's say a customer was using Windows and MS Office in any case. Now that Teams came into play, so in an educational environment, this becomes a very complete solution. Naturally, a lot of people who were just seeing it as a productivity tool in their campuses are now seeing it like more of an essential thing. So there is growth there. Because not everybody went for a campus-wide licensing. Some people bought some licenses as needed from time to time. Now people are thinking, no, why not go for a full campus license? So that helps not only our faculty, but all students. And then it keeps, in a campus license, what happens is that you keep getting your updates from time to time. So that's one thing. So automatically you grow there. And then there are allied opportunities which come in, like I mentioned earlier. So we are also able to, and because this is all in the cloud, so we are also able to sometimes address clients which are not in our geography. So I don't have to necessarily send somebody to NIT Silchar to install Microsoft solutions. I can do it online. So because of this, also I can expand my coverage. Having said that, cloud has huge benefits, as I have told you already. But it does have one area of threat perception, which is for the partner. Because if cloud services can be directly taken from the cloud and Microsoft offers that, why are we required? Our role does get diminished to that extent. Yes, I agree, things keep changing and therefore we need to be the trusted advisor to the customer and we need to wrap around services. So all these things do exist, but not every customer understands this. So initially they would think, well, so let's say, for example, we get into a 1-year subscription and when they want renewal, they may say, okay, I will renew it directly. I mean, do I need a partner? Or they can very easily move to another partner because stickiness is not there. But if they have physical services on site, then there is a stickiness with the customer. So that's an angle which we have to, what should I say, intelligently value add to avoid. So if the partner is intelligently able to, wisely able to value add to the existing offerings from the OEMs which offer things on cloud, like Microsoft, then you have a better play. It has been a very fruitful journey. We've been a partner for Microsoft now almost close to 2 decades, 15 years plus. And it has grown over time. And I see more growth coming. So definitely it's been a fruitful journey.